Hey guys, what's going on? So this is an exercise video. So in this video, we'll be covering topics from loops, iterations, and list tuples. So I just decided to combine these two because these two were a perfect match. And I think after learning about list and tuples and sets are also important, but I don't find that much application of sets. Uh, but list and tuples are really important. And I decided to mash up both list tuple concepts with for loop, that is loops and iterators, and decided to create a question video on that. So without further ado, let's look at the question. So the questions are like this. So first question is you are given a list which is 1 2 3 4 5. Iterate over the list and print only even values. So let's do that. So list is already provided. So we need to iterate through the list. So we can say for I any dummy variable in lst. Then to check for condition of even, we can make use of the modulo. So if I say a modulo b, it is the reminder of what we get when we divide a with b. So in this case, each number I we need to divide with 2 and we will check if the remainder is 0. So every number which is completely divisible by 2 is even, right? So we will type if that number that we are accessing from the list is divided with 2 and the result we get is 0. We need to pass if, then print I. So what I mod 2 does is it will go and divide each elements from the list, say 1 divided by 2, and modulo will give you the reminder, and we're checking if the reminder is 0. And if the reminder is 0, then print I. Let's go ahead and run this. So this would print out all the even values. So let's run. So out of 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5, we only got 2 and 4. So this was the first question. Now moving on to the next question. So the next question says you are given a list. It's a 2D list of list inside list. So as you can see, there's a bigger list, and inside it we have a smaller list. So this is the bigger list, parent list, and inside it we are having the smaller individual list like this. Cool. Now what we want to do is we have to flatten this list out like this, a single 1D list. Okay, so seeing this question, I get two approaches. One approach is using nested for loops, and the second one is an intermediate concept of using list comprehension. So you can use something called list comprehension to actually, it's a one liner which could actually flatten this list out. So I want to be discussing this method here. We will be covering the list comprehension in intermediate Python. So at there, I will be discussing the list comprehension in very much detail. So let's actually stick with the native method of using two for loops. For that, let's type for list in lst2d. So what this does is it's accessing these individual list like this 1 2 3 4 5 6 3 8. Now what we need to do, we need to pass another for loop saying for items in this list that we are accessing. Well, now let's print it out and see what items are. And remember that we should not get any list formats when we print out. If it's not, then we are on the right track. Cool. So we are accessing all the elements individually. Now what we need to do is we need to create a dummy list, say list1, initialize it with nothing. And after that, just need to use the append method. So list1 dot append the items. After doing this, okay, let's not print it, let's append it, and finally we will print it. So tab it, come out of the for loop, and then print list1. So let me actually clear the screen, cls, and if I run it, you should get a flattened list. There you go. Now I'll once again tell you what I did. So first of all, I access individual lists like 1 2 3 4 5 6 3 8 via using a for loop saying for list in list2d. And after that, to access the individual elements inside this sublist, I made use of a dummy variable item in this present list. So the first time when it executes, the list will be holding 1 comma 2 as a list, and when it enters, items will be holding value 1 at the beginning. Now 1 will be appended to the list. First it appended 1, then it went out of the for loop and accessed the second item from the list. Second item from the list is 2. It appended that, and since there are no more items, this for loop will be over and it will come back to the parent list. Now in the second iteration, the list would get hold of this list, and I think you might have got the point of using 2 for loops. Now let me tell you that this could have been solved by just a one-liner using list comprehension, but I will keep it that for a later video because it is much more of an intermediate concept and you will understand much more there. Cool. Now the third question is, let me actually delete this. Okay, so we have been given a list of tuples and we need to print the first item of each tuple. So one thing I quickly notice here is that we have been given a list of evenly distributed tuples. So length of tuple 1 is 3, 2 is also 3, and the length of tuple 3 is also 3. So we can make use of one for loop and we can access the first values easily. So to do that, we take 4 and we pass number of elements that are there tuple. So we pass 3 dummy variables saying x, y, z in lst of tup list of tuple. Now we just need to print the first value. So x will keep hold of all the first values 1, 1.2, a. Y will keep hold of second value and so on. I'll just show you. So if I just print it, you'll notice that it printed me all the first values 1, 1.2 and a. Now if I just replace this x with y, it will print me the second values here, and the second values are 2, 5 and 7. All right, so this was today's exercise. See you guys in the next video.